Awesome, awesome. Welcome to all. We will get started here. This is Thursday, May the 9th, and we have had a full week of activities commemorating Nurses Week. It has been so fun, full of joy, love, and laughter. And today we are continuing day 4 of Nurses Week with Trauma Talks with Nurses. Trauma Talk with Nurses. And our phenomenal presenter today is Maharaj, and this is a good friend of mine. We have come a long way and we have a long way to go. He is a friend of nurses. He is a friend of healthcare providers at large. And there's something about Raj. He comes at the time of need. You know exactly what I mean. And I see Ra will come at the time of need. He shows up. And what an opportune time for Nurses Week for you to be here among us, for you to impact some words of wisdom, advice, whatever it is called. Without further ado, Ra, please take the stage. I believe I made you co-host. So if you have any videos to share, please take it away.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Nimpu Kamu Hall, for every single thing that you do. For us being gathered here today, it's all you and the hard work that you do and you put in your dedication, your love, your kindness. And I'm telling you this today, just as you said, Ra showed up in this time. It's just like people say over and over, when God cannot come, he sends. And he has sent you along with all you amazing nurses doing what you do for humankind all over the world is amazing. So at this moment, I would like to say my gratitude and thank you to all nurses throughout the world for all the hard work and dedication, love, and care, together with that compassion and empathy that you put into your work, not just as a work, but as a duty towards mankind. So right now, all of you, take your hands and put it on your shoulder, your back, and give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a pat on the back for bringing yourself to where you are today, from where you were in life to where you are today, because all of you have a story. All of you are resilient in your own way, because each one of you, I can tell, has been through some sort of trauma, because trauma, as we all say, from the minute you're born, trauma starts. If you may not ever think or look at it like that, you have to. You think about a baby who is being born, and I know all of you know this, and they have a heart defect. Isn't that trauma? Trauma started right there. The baby may not be aware of that, but the parents is. The love that they have is aware of that. Then, when that child becomes of age and start understanding, the parents would educate them on what's happening to them. Now that's an extra burden, an extra worry that they have to take through their life. And then, just like you all amazing angels, you all take it upon yourself to decide which duty you want to take upon your shoulders to help mankind. And today you are the ones. The first thing, we go to the ER, who is going to triage us? Who's going to check our blood pressure? Who's going to take our blood? You guys, all of you. So when I say you close your eyes and you say, hey, you, I love you. You have to be able to love you for what you do, because you all are amazing. And I am grateful to be around all of you today because, it's not all the time you get to be amongst angels. And this is my thing today. So I want every one of you, whoever have a question, just unmute and say, Ra, you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that because this is what I wanted. I wanted to come out here and not just give one of my trauma stories or try to connect. I want to connect my stories together with you to see how I can help motivate you more. You know, we don't dwell in the past, but there was a yesterday. And yesterday taught me something on a different level that I just cannot believe that we're living in the 21st century and the sort of ignorance and hate towards good people will never end. But as we say, that was yesterday. But if you want to talk about a feeling concerning that, please, you just unmute and ask me anything. But as we go a little bit further about yesterday, one of the things, we are taught different things in life. Ra, I do not disrespect anyone. And this is me from a child. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a multi-cultured country where religion is in different places. It's not an Islamic country. It's not a Christian country. It's not a Hindu country. It's not a Catholic country. It's not a Buddhism country. It's all come together. But two of the major races in my country were of East Indian and African. And throughout my life, I had to grow up as a child seeing race and hate towards these two and being caught in the middle and not understanding certain things, but you have to question yourself as you develop. When my stepfather, who is of Indian descent background, is abusing my mother, we have to run to who? Our African neighbor. Who stands for us? Our African neighbor. So how is it that there's always a fight and a race? When I go to school, my teacher is of an African background. And if I was bullied and I go to her and I tell her, she would scold that other person for me. So where is the hate when you keep understanding there's no difference in people? Human beings supposed to be one thing, and that is love, care, kindness. And most of the times they forget about that. You see, in this life, as I talk about this race that separated a country from how many years ago, and still in this decade, in the 21st century, it still happens. And it's sad because you know why these things happen? It didn't happen because two different races hate on each other. It happened from the generations that bring it forward and they don't elevate. Now, you see, like me, I would tell people all the time, just as mental health do not have a race, it do not have a color, it does not have a religion, it's the same way with human beings. Because guess what? This light that is inside of here, whether it separates us by this body or religion, we are all connected. At the end of the day, this light goes back towards the light that it came from. And you have to believe that. Just like the ocean, dipping a bucket of water out from in the ocean, taking it and pouring it on small bottles of water on the ocean shore. The only thing separating the water is the vessel, just like this body. So why? People tell you all the time, oh, cut my hand and cut your hand and you're going to see red blood. And it's so true. But yet human beings do not understand that. So here we are today celebrating human beings that are angels. And again, It's so my privilege to be here around all of you to shed positivity on what you do because all of you amazing souls are amazing beyond. Do you know what you guys did for me besides learning something that I need to go back and talk about from yesterday? You guys taught me that I did not know that Liberia was the first country, African country, to have a female president in 2006. And that was so amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Like, I was like, and then I started reading more. Then I go on to read a little bit more about the rubber industry. And I was like, wow, you see how people just like, if they do not know the history, do not know details of who they are wrong, people come to Ra most of the times. They're always asking for favors. Some people belittle me without even knowing who I am. And I smile, I take it, and then I say, hey, have you ever Googled me? Just like that. That's all I ask them. Because see, plenty people think right now they are so famous on TikTok, wherever it is, and they will try because they probably have more views or likes than you, try to belittle you. Now, if you Google you and you Google me, there's a big difference. You might find your Google profile. You might find your TikTok profile, but you're not going to find the whole page on Google that Ra did not pay for. So you see, respect is built on the character that you create. It all comes together, just like you amazing nurses again. You didn't just decide today that I am going to heal up someone's cut or stitch it up or something like that because Ra might be there standing, figuring out what to do while you guys already finish in a split second. And that's how amazing you guys are. That's why I said to give yourself a pat on the back. So I'm from New York City and I came here in 2000. And when I came here in 2000, I landed in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, New York. Well, you land in Queens, actually, in JFK. But the person, again, once again, we come back with my good African brother, or may I say a friend, so depth that just recently we called him, is the person's floor in his living room that my mom and I used to sleep on because he's the one who give her that salvation that look, you want to find somewhere to go without your husband finding you? Come, it's okay. I have a place for y'all. He extended that love and that beautiful, friendship that he showed us and care and kindness when we had nowhere to go when we came here in 2000. Now, saying that again is so people always call it the hood. So certain parts of Brooklyn. And Ra, the very next day, got a job, as we say, in the hood. So, people will use the N word in a bad way and so like what we had happen yesterday. But then you have the hood people will use it as mean your brother. So just as recently I was talking to a friend and he's a lawyer and he was telling me, you know, at certain points, just joking around talking, you use the word like just like using it as saying dude. It's no disrespect because we're just like we're chilling. He was like, raw. You're not supposed to say something like that. I was talking to you. We're not talking outside. There's nobody here. It's like raw. But yesterday, I think that was my day that I don't ever, in a friendly way, in a joking way, any kind of way, because that really hurt my sisters and my friends yesterday. And I don't stand for bullying. Till today, because of Dr. Nimpu, I was thinking how to write an article, how to put something out there about what happened. Inspired by Dr. Nimpu, I decided today I want to bring out my own magazine that just like people spill dirt about people and they have entertainment, they have mental health magazines where it's more about ads. There's women's health, but it's all about ads and this or who's famous. But I want something different. And this amazing lady This amazing soul. She inspired me to bring a magazine called Resilience. Thank you. Silence Breaker magazine, where people can speak. Any one of you, take my email address and send me your story. Let's put your story in these magazines. Let's do this where people will understand the depth of how trauma affects people, that they need to speak out. They need to be heard. You need to be heard. Yesterday, I had to come on just before the drama happened, and I heard you all talking about salaries and pays not being raised. You know, this is a sad thing. This has been going on for how long? Just last night, I had a discussion with someone, and I was telling them, you all remember when it happened in Mount Sinai? And New York Presbyterian and the nurses walked out. You all know when they have to go on strike. You think it's just about the money or the time and the hours and how they treat them? It's a combination of everything. And then when they're standing out there, they have to think when they have to go on strike, oh my God, my patient is inside there and they need me, but I also need me. And that is okay to stand for what you believe in and for your rights, because all of you deserve it, because all of you work hard and all of you dedicate yourself. And the pandemic taught us beyond how you all stand strong. You know, thank you all for giving me this opportunity again and again. It's very rare that you have an opportunity like this. And I want to tell you all thank you. You know, I say this over and over. I know many of you have dreams. I know many of you set goals that are so high that it seems like you could never reach them, but you do not give up. You do not give up. The reason why is what is meant for you shall never pass you by. And what passes you by was never meant for you. So do not dwell on the things that you cannot change. You do the ones that you can help make a reality. All of us are religious. All of us believe in something, God, the universe, fate, something. At the end of the day, if you need a glass of water, and you believe so much in God, and you close your eyes deeply and you say, God, I'm thirsty, give me this water. There's no way possible if you don't get the glass and put it in your mouth. There's no way possible that water is going to come in your mouth. I am telling you that. So you have to believe in you to do it for you, because only you can make it happen for you. And Ra believes in you. So I want you to believe in you as well. So all of you, thank you once again. Anything you want to ask, let's have a little discussion. And Dr. Nimpu, again, it was my great honor to be here. Thank you.
Bravo, 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 Ra. You have said it. And I had to write. I was so glued into what you were saying that I finally had to write something that you you touched the button. What is meant for you
Shall
will,
never pass you by.
and what passes you by was
Was
not meant for you. Whew. There are different ways to say that, but yours is quaint, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ra. And to our guests and members, Ra was he was removing the dust off of what happened yesterday. And if you weren't here yesterday to get a full effect of what happened yesterday, you will see it in the recording. But those who were here, the healing is still going on, because we got hyped in the middle of Zoom event. The vulgar languages that was being used, the just the vulgar language that was being used were just so and it shook everyone to the core. And like I said in the beginning, Ra was on point. God just brought him here as a trauma agent, prevention a specialist, a mental health advocate. Where else could he have been on time? And how else can we explain that God provides, even when we're not praying for it? I don't believe I ever prayed for, God preventing a hiker from coming online. I never prayed for that, but God provided. Ra was here on time. He was able to console our audience in many ways. Verbally, he just like went and helped us. We debriefed on site. It's like, God forbid a bomb happens and you have a specialist there who is just in time. Okay. So God is awesome. And this Rod does this every day. Then he has his trauma talk. Then he has events. And this is how we met on one of the major events he had last year. And a member of our organization, Carla, who is in the Netherlands, who presented earlier today, and she said, I'm going back to work, but I will make sure that I tweak my time and come back and see Ra and see him in his prime. And I said, awesome, because we will be enjoying Ra time. So guys, this is an opportune time. Do not allow this friend of ours to leave our event without adding wisdom to something that has touched you so that you cannot overcome. He is offering us a magazine that he has developed for us to publish our stories on it and be heard, not in Cameroon, not only in Liberia, but globally, because why? We too are based globally. So what an alignment. And by the way, Rod, this is what Nurses in Charge does. We align ourselves with entities who are in the same wavelength, who are approaching the same wavelength, who have been there supporting healthcare providers from the get-go. So we form alliances with those entities. And you have no choice but to stay with us. I know you and I go a long way. We do other things, but Nurses in Charge would definitely adopt your system and honor your offer for this magazine. I will stop there and see if anyone else has anything to say. Maybe something you never overcame yesterday and it's still burning in, still trying to overcome what happened. Speaking of whom, Dina just joined us. She was our presenter yesterday, who was the target of the hiking. Her name was called many times. So Dina, welcome. Ra is back and we are having a roundtable discussion. So thank you everyone. And the platform is open for any questions you want to ask.
Dr. Nimble, let me add something here. When you spoke about being there for like you nurses during the pandemic, I'm not sure if you had it out where you are, but every day at 7 p.m. they would go out and clap for all the healthcare workers who put themselves online. And every 7 o'clock, we've run out on the balcony, even though they don't know, but we did it because this is the little that you can do to give back. You see, everyone speaks about God and they always quote God. During the times of Jesus' teachings, how big was the crowd at that time? And I say this, people say it all the time. A man died teaching you about love and how you should treat others. He died, and it was a very small following. Today in the world, that same man that died, his message is amongst millions that follow him. You see, the thing about it, and I say this all the time, why is it that someone has to die for you to remember the words, yet still not practice it? It's sad. And we are all connected, as I said in the beginning. So when something happens to someone of you, and there are people who connect with you, like if I hear something like yesterday, the reason I was so upset is because I felt all Dr. Nimpu's pain. And that's how I felt, because we are all connected. And that's one of the most amazing things that people cannot take away from you. You go to work. Some people make it a job. Some people will not make it a job because they'll make it their duty, as you all make it your duty, and you want to do it from within your heart. You will take abuse, not just from doctors, but from patients as well. You will take abuse from your family members at home. You might take abuse from the relationship that you're in. How about when you abuse your own self for things that you cannot change? But by believing in yourself and knowing that at the end of the day, things will get better, trust me, things will get better. Just keep smiling and believing in what you do and who you are. Never sway from the part. See, just like me, for past 6 years of doing your life experiences with Raw and trauma talks and bringing people's stories out, my God, as I just said, my God, the divine has tested me. I'm not just saying tested me, but put me to walk in certain parts that I needed to understand more about the pathway that I took up. It was not just something that I wanted to hear people's stories, letting others know that they are not alone. No, it wasn't about that. It was me learning about it. So when I hear 10 people's stories, somehow I'm connected to the 10 people's stories. Then I will hear 20 people's stories, and I'm connected to the 20 people's stories. I have 24 stories in here, and 24 stories from 24 different people. Somehow I was able to put my foot in their shoes and connect with them to give them some sort of advice, because I have been through the trauma. I've been through the trauma where I've actually seen things in very bad ways. Whether it was I was raped, brutally beaten, physically abused, mentally abused, ridiculed, robbed, been in a relationship of betrayal, been amongst family and friends who betray you and belittle you, be pulled on at your workplace where people do not recognize your worth. That is when I say I connect with you, because I have been there. I have been there where it is, I felt as though it's the end of the line, and all you need to do is say, hey, God, I'm coming home, but I'm not waiting for you to call me. I am coming. But let me tell you something. If it's not the end of your road, there's no way you can go anywhere until that divine calls you. Whether you are sick, whether it's a bullet, even by suicide. But you do not go anywhere until you fulfill your purpose. So never stop believing in who you are and what you stand for and what you do. And I just it's amazing, amazing, amazing when I hear people's stories of their trauma and how they overcome or what they are going through, and they keep doing it. They keep doing it. You hear when they tell you, oh, that person has a lot of trauma going on, but you never know. Do you see that smile every single day? I know people like that. I am one of them that puts this smile on to make sure I am there for others. Because when you see, I open my inbox sometimes and I see the type of messages I get and I read some of the stories that I read, I'll be like, oh my God, wow, did that just happen to that person? We hear it all the time, and it sounds like a movie to know a woman and her husband who have a 22-year-old child together, been together, and she worked with him, build from nothing, to have him start acting strange, then to follow him to a brothel, to see him with another woman through a window. Trauma beyond trauma. Then when she questions him about it, by actually seeing with her two eyes and not actually assuming or not actually concocting a story in her mind, he lies, abuses her, betrays her. And then she sucks it up. And tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., she's at the general hospital doing what all of you do, being an amazing nurse and not allowing that to affect her. But we know how badly it affects, and you have to still do your job. So hats off to all you angels over and over again. And thank you. I know I talk, I motivate, and I inspire. And I am inspired and I get my energy from amazing people. You know, they tell you to go to the temples or the churches and the masjids and sit down and you pray amongst others and you gain positive energy. But you don't always have to do that. This is positive energy. This is good energy because you are good. Always remember that. Love yourself and keep believing. And again, Dr. Nimpu, thank you. And I see my dear friend Carla just join us. Sorry, this morning I had an appointment and it was a little early. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to miss Carla's talk. But guess what? I'm going to see the replay. I love you. And thank you so much for what you did for her today and for being here. I see what I mean. You see what I mean? Great energy. Where would you find energy? And each person, and I always say this, each person believes in something. If you say you're an atheist and you don't believe in nothing, you still believe in something. I'm telling you. Because guess what? You believe in something to say you don't believe in it. You get the trick behind it? Because there is someone greater than all of you. There's this great being somehow along that guides and pull you through the darkest moments in that tunnel. You ever look at the movie Daylight from back in the day with Sylvester Stallone? It's an old movie from back in the 80s or 90s. And guess what? The tunnel in New York City, like one of the scariest things, the Lincoln Tunnel happened to have an accident and it's flooded and they have to escape. It's dark. It's 100 feet of water. You're underground. 100 feet of water. You're under the river. But in that movie, in that darkness, the movie is called Daylight. And if you look in your life, every single thing is temporary. So the darkness will be removed and you will get light. Before I leave, look, I have my kids' book that I was inspired by in the pandemic, Melly and the Pandemic. It's inspired by true stories. There's a little timeline in it. See this little guy here? I spin him off and making a new book called Jerry the Doctor. He kept the kids in the book. I introduced him to give the kids a little bit of hope as an animated series. And he sings a song that came into the book right as the girl Melly in the book, the character, her friend's mom died from COVID-19. And that's the story. And Jerry now sings a song. Hey, hey, it's a beautiful day. The sun is out, why don't you come and play? Hey, hey, it's a beautiful day. The sun is out, won't you come and play? If you're feeling down and you want to feel better, if you're feeling cold and you can't find your sweater, if you still feel down, then write me a letter. But don't worry, smile, things will get better. And that's what I wrote while I was writing the book and the story, because that's how I was feeling. I had to feel all my traumas from 2020 while the pandemic was happening, while the world was at turmoil, and I was going through trauma. Had to sell my house. I was going through a breakup. I was going through so much. I lost my business. And then I had to remember writing this book. So I put myself back into that place. What will make you feel better at that moment, Ra? Don't worry. Smile. Things will get better. And trust me, today, this is here. And this book is going to go down in history. There's a part 2 coming to it. I spin off Jerry the Doctor in his own animated series. And Jerry is a doctor that comes from India, where his mom dies at an early age, where his dad became an alcoholic because of depression, abused them. I made this into something traumatic that kids need to understand, that life is not a bed of roses. Too long we have hidden the truth from everyone. So we decide to go to school, grow up, and believe that Cinderella's shoe is going to fit us, and Snow White is going to wake up from a kiss from Prince Charming. Oh, Little Red Riding Hood, the hunter, we're going to save the day. It's not like that. It is not like that. And we have to understand that things will get better and it's only temporary. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys with that one. Any questions, please join in. Andina, listen, you're beautiful. You did not on any level deserve a single thing that idiot or brainless coward said yesterday to you, or any one of you. And you're resilient, you're beautiful. Ra loves you, Ra believes in you, and I want to thank you for what you do for everyone and yourself. Keep believing in yourself, keep loving yourself, never give up, because guess what? You are here for a purpose and to reach the height that you deserve. God bless all of you. I love you all. Anything you want to ask, I'm here.
Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you.
Okay, guys, the mic is thrown at you, given to you to say, anything you want to say right now, ask questions, or just encourage someone. Thank you, Ra.
Hello, Ra. I want to ask, what do you suggest for people who don't want to pass their trauma on to their children?
Wow, that is a very amazing question. And let me tell you why. And I'm going to use my mom as a reference to this. You see, everyone's trauma is different. There's no possible way that you could pass trauma down to your children, because what my mom went through, she didn't pass it down. She actually tried to protect us. And I would tell you something. only yesterday, I was speaking to a good friend, and I love that you asked this question. You see, it's according to what type of trauma and the situation that you're in. Only you would know this, right? But one of the things, if it's a bad thing when it comes to a relationship and the traumas in a relationship or traumas surrounding any sort of betrayal, it is your right as a parent, and this is my way of thinking, to protect your children or your child from that by removing them from the situations as best as you can. In certain situations, I understand that it's very hard and it's easy to just say something than let it happen. But it's okay for you to protect your child in a way by helping them to understand the situation and letting them be more aware of everything that's happening. You see, hiding from kids and buttoning it up, as I just said, is one of the major problems. Being real, I know you can be raw in certain ways, but being real and letting them understand that it's okay, these things happen, but you don't have to take it in a depth according to what is going on with you. But this is, you don't pass trauma down in that sense, in according to what's going on with you. So you, if you want to explain what's going on, no problem. But if you don't, the thing about it is, if it's okay, or if you want to expunge on it, and there we can get a little more explanation on it.
Just a general question.
May I add something on that?
Yes, of course.
That I agree with Rod that we don't pass on the trauma, but the thing is that we do have a story around the trauma that we tell ourselves. And to figure out the story that you have on that trauma, and then see how you can turn that around. And that way you can protect your children. Like, let's say you, from a certain trauma, you really feel like, oh, people can get to me easily, or I'm not worth it, obviously, things like that. You have to work through that and tell yourself the opposite. I am worth. This happened, but it's making me stronger. And that's what you can pass on to your children. And then you tell that story. Like, if things happen to you, it makes you stronger. You have to stand strong for yourself. You're eligible to say no, or things like that. So understand the story that you have in your mind on a trauma, and see how you can make that, turn that into a strong story to tell your kids and teach them that. I hope that's something, I don't know if I explained it right, but so
Thank
I
thanks
love
for
that.
the addition.
you.
That's what I see when I work with my people. I work with this quantum technology, and I see that it's never the trauma itself that's still there, but it's the story that we build on that trauma. That's what keeps us busy.
Yes. On to that, Carla and Ra, thank you so much. I would say, I don't know if you've come across my brother's book. It's called Witness: Civil War in the Eyes of a Child. And when my brother wrote the book, and I've never passed the introductory phase, the introductory page of that book, because for me, it is re-traumatizing. But as he explains it, when I hear him presenting and doing videos on it, I sometimes just wonder, I'm like, wow, this is actually from his view. So is that story that comes with the story that comes with the trauma, as you mentioned, Carla, that story in the eyes of a child is completely different, or somewhat different, but the way in which the child sees that story, the trauma in their mind's eyes, until the parents try to clarify for them as they go on, their memory of that trauma is completely within that child's mind's eyes. So the best thing for parents to do is to revisit the storyline and tell the child why certain things happened the way it happened. And also to make sure, tell that child that it is not their fault, because children have a way of blaming themselves about certain things that they see happened, even if it's at school or is at home. So that story needs to be clarified for children. And then, as Ross said, do everything to prevent, do everything to protect your child. Because if that child sees that you did everything as a parent to protect them, it also gives them a better narrative versus saying my parents did nothing. I didn't see them take any action. They just let it happen. So that's what I have to say as well.
Dana, you
Yes,
have a question?
can I say something?
Sure. Then Dina, yes.
Sorry, I came in late. We are really having a lot of issues here on the lights and the networks. When the light goes off, the network too goes off, and you can only have a good network to connect to Zoom when the light comes back. So it's really giving me a lot of difficulties here. But I want to say this is a great topic. This is something very important. Nyempo, you're going to agree with me. It is true that a lot of things are going to happen in our lives. The world is really, really unfair in its happenings. So what makes a difference is our reactions towards these things that happen in our life. That is why I always advise my friends, my colleagues, we have a lot of responsibilities in a way we bring up our children, because I came to discover that the way we react to situations in our life depends on how we were brought up. Okay, our upbringing has a lot to do with our reactions to situations in life. Let me give you an example. Let's take two scenarios. There is this kid that was told by the parent that while you are in school, if a friend of yours insults you that you adore, tell him you are not dull because you have been passing your exams. And then another kid that the parents told him, if a friend of yours tell you in school you are dull, don't accept. You really need to fight back. You really need to prove to him that you are not dull. You need to fight back. You need to make sure you hit hard. Now, these two kids have different ideas that have been instilled into them by the parents. And now you're going to agree with me that if an incident happens, if a friend insults the kid one that you adore, nobody is going to hear about it, okay? Because he or she, he is not going to raise any doors, because he knows, he has been told by the parents that he is not dull. So he knows that those words doesn't have anything to do with him. And then the other kids that the parents have made him to understand that if anybody tells you you're dull, you need to fight back. You need to make sure you prove a point. And if peradventure, one of the classmates tells him one day you are dull, you can imagine the atmosphere that is going to create in the school environment. So these are the little things that we think we care for our children, but we bring them up in a way that the way they are going to react to situations that are happening in the society is going to create a lot of issues. And those are the things that affects us psychologically. Because if you think that you have a point to prove and there's no way you can prove the point, you become discouraged, you become psychologically broken down, but of which at the end of the day, you are proving a point that doesn't even make sense. because there is no need of you proving something, because in life, we all are just passing, and we all have an opportunity. When you are breathing, that is a great opportunity that God has given us, proving a point that you are very intelligent, proving a point that you are very educated. It has nothing to do at the end of the day, because we one day leave these things. We one day leave this world, and the world will be there with its own problems. So the way in which we have been wired to think about these things of the world has a lot to do with the way we react to situations that happen in our life, and it has a lot to do with our physical and psychosocial well-being. You're going to agree with me that a lot of sicknesses that people are facing these days are more psychological than physiological. The brain controls the body. And there are sometimes when patients come and consult to me, and somebody says, I have this, my gastric, that always disturbs me. I say, no, that statement is not the best statement. Because once you know that you always have this gastric, believe me, you will always have it. Because your thoughts controls your system. Your psychology, the way you think, controls the physical being. If you start thinking that, oh, maybe that my gastric is going to start very soon, believe me, it's going to start, because hydrochloric acid will be released into the stomach, and you start chopping the stomach walls, and you start feeling the pains. You will start feeling the pains. But if you wipe it from your brain that it was just an incident that happened and gastric is not my portion, believe me, that is how this psychological aspect of you is going to control the physical being, and you are not going to suffer from any gastritis any longer. So a lot of sicknesses are being controlled by the way we behave, the way we think. And if we could take this message and instill in our children while they are growing up, make them to know that a lot of things are going to happen to you as you are growing up, but what makes the difference is the way you react to these things. That is what makes the difference. And if you give a lot of value, they always say, what you doesn't know doesn't paint you, right? Yes, what you doesn't know doesn't paint you. So if you always make them to give a lot of value to these things of the earth, give a lot of value to the things happening around them, they will find themselves like being compelled to make sure everything goes right, to make sure everything goes the way they want them to go. But that is not how life is wired. Life is wired in a very unpredictable manner, and we just have to live at a time and make sure we live at peace, and we make sure we understand that the things that we don't have influence over, we should not bother ourselves. You want to go to an appointment and rain start falling. You become very angry, and you don't even talk to people around you. Now, the question I want to ask you is, can you control rainfall? Those are things that you have no influence over. Then why worrying yourself about those type of things? So I want to thank each and every one of us that are listening in this moment. It's a great lesson, and we have a lot of responsibilities to instill even in the young nurses that are coming up. We have a lot of message to pass to our children that are coming up to change the ideology. And when we bring them up in this way, we are going to limit the rate at which people feel traumatized with situations, and we're going to reduce the rate of burnt out. We are going to reduce the rate of traumatic situations and even suicides in our community today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mbino. Even without current, you came through bright and clear. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Can I say something?
Oh, yes, you have your hands up, Carla. Oh, not Carla, Dina. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much, and sorry to come late, but I worked today, so it was the best I could do. I didn't even change myself, so sorry. Thank you very much for your word. Yes, was that yesterday? Yeah, it was so crazy what happened. So I don't even know how where they come from or how I react in that way. But yes, I'm a very resilient person. So I was able to come out from that quite quickly. And also I have a couple of good friends that pray with me and they call me and we pray together. So this helps a lot. I wrote in the book, I also say during the interview, so there's nothing new, nothing, maybe I can specify a little bit, but so when I was young, I was abused by my mom. She kind of hit me, but plus, well, I went around with bruises, like she hit me badly. And she kept saying that I was not good enough, that what you think you're gonna do it, what do you think you are, blah, 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 blah. And also because my sister, she's 6 years younger than me, she had a cardiac problem. So she had an emergency surgery twice when she was 5.5. So basically, whole my mom hunger was reversed on me until then. Sadly, actually, she died for cancer when I was 18, so I had to take over responsibility, extra things. My mama was abusing act relationship was take over from my sister, which just tried to obtain everything from me because she was sick. So basically, I was able to detach from my family when I was already 40, and was already in UK about 4 years. So I have to really go through my trauma. All of them. I've been with a psychiatrist. We talk about gaslighting for 1.5 years, like every 2 weeks, we have meeting. And finally, I was able to kind of overcome because I'm not sure if I really forgiven my mom or no. But anyway, still working on it. That's fine. Now I'm fine. I work on myself. So still doing. I mean, didn't have any self-esteem at all. So I have to work on that, still doing. But the thing that I do with my kids is keep repeating to them they are very loved, they are very appreciated, they are very good in what they do, but they have just to understand why certain relationships must be stopped because they are toxic. So the thing to love people doesn't mean that those people have to abuse us. So learn how to stop them. Of course, I don't have a good relationship with my sister anymore. But another thing that I teach to my kids is when Jesus said, turn the other cheek, doesn't mean that you have to be passive with your abuser. It means that you must be compassionate with your abuser. Because if you're passionate with your abuser, you put your abuser in a position of need. So he needs. This is why he's abused. So if you understand, first of all, you see the situation from another higher perspective. You don't feel hunger anymore because you understand he or she's abused you because he's in need to obtain something. So you are compassionate and you not take it personal anymore. Yeah, but you need to put boundaries and let them understand that, okay, I can do this, but I cannot do the other things. So, of course, there are situations, as you rightly say early on, you have to take out from because there's nothing you can do. There's just too much. And in some way, it's what I have to do. For example, for my sister, I really need to take her far away. But my kid keep asking questions, what's happened, and I need to explain. And for example, sometimes they ask me about my mom and they ask me, but she was your mom, why she? Because I love them so much, so they don't understand why my mom actually was hitting me on the time, putting me down all the time, so they cannot really understand. And and I try to explain things. I don't think I have any resentment with my mom anymore, but I don't agree with her, absolutely. I actually, this month we got the same age, and I can tell you, I disagree completely on what she was doing. So I just try to love them as much as I can, to make them confident as much as they can, to be resilient. But I think you're right. You're so right. Story must to be told, because sorry for my English. I'm also tired now. But yes, we need to tell story. We need to tell people what's happening in other household. When some kids, goes to my kids and say, you are blah blah blah, or you blah blah blah, and they try to keep them down. I explain to my kids that they do this because maybe they don't have in their household the love that you guys have here with us. So I don't know if this could happen some way, but this is my story. Thank you. Thank you for your support yesterday, today, and I love you so much. And I couldn't find a better community. Amen. Basta.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dana. Both of you, Mbeno, I think that's the pronunciation of your name. The both of
Yes,
you
that's
brought
you're right.
Thank you. You guys brought some amazing points. One of the things, let's go back to Mbeno, is the things about the psychology behind how you think. And we are all, you all are all nurses in here with a medical background in the medical field, and would understand when I say this and where I come from. Like me studying psychology, just think about every different disorder, I diagnose myself with it. That's just the thing. Same thing like people these days, they have a headache or a neck pain or something is wrong, they immediately Google. And then they have a million and one things that's wrong with them that's not even there because it's in their mind because they read it. And then they start having all these extended problems because psychology behind it already affected them, like, oh, this is happening, I have an STD, I have HIV, I have something because Google said that. So you make it into a reality, and sometimes it actually manifests into that. So you are right about that. And let me tell you something, Dina. So in the background, we have a amazing lineup of speakers, and these are all gonna end up in person in New York City on a stage. So right behind me on this side, Carla and Dr. Nimpu knows amazingly. That's my good buddy and my co-host for my show called Your Trauma Talks, and she's my co-host, Brittany Purr. An amazing person. She's an empath. She's a empathetic person. She, when I tell you, you meet this person, she brings light. And Dana, you should go back and listen to the podcast. You are not alone. And when I say this, it's because she have a similar story about her mom in a different way. And, I explain this to people all the time. Human beings are the destruction of other human beings. You think it's psychologically, your mom was going through her own traumas that, as you say, at that time, there's no psychiatrist to go sit with, no counselor, no mental health professional, or nobody to guide you into the right way and say, hey, let's see what's happening in your home. Maybe we could sit and talk to your mom, figure out what's going on with her, figure out what's going on with you. It didn't have that, right? But then I'm not trying to butter it up, because when I do this with my stepfather, trying to tell them, that this man maybe was insecure by mom, people saying certain things, hearing the people from the back that she's going to cheat on you. And that's why you need to beat her, because you created all this falsity in your mind that she's cheating, and you become insecure, you're drinking alcohol, you become abusive. It's a similar way. Whatever was going on in your mom's mind, we really don't know. Now, as a nurse, you did mention she passed away with cancer. Now, I'm not using an excuse again, but you know cancer stemmed from way back, and it could have caused so many different things. Again, not making an excuse, but I'll tell you what to do. And this is my way of doing it. You could go sit, you could talk to counselors, you could talk to psychiatrists, and you could be pumped with medication. At the end of the day, unless you let go of those feelings and actually decide that, hey, I couldn't change that. I did not deserve it, nor can I change it. But one thing I can do is to make me feel better. And the way to make me feel better is to let that go. It hurts, but why think about it? It already happened, and you graduated to be who you are. And when I say graduated to be who you are, is the person that you are, the most amazing angel that stands there and saves lives. And nothing can be greater than who you are. So you let that go, you learn, you smile, and you breathe. I am not that person, so I could forgive them. You can't forget. People say you can forgive and forget. Forgetting is hard. Letting go is another thing. You can forget, you cannot forget, but let go. You could not forget and forgive, because when you forgive, you heal you. I mean, think about it. You're already an amazing person. Why wouldn't you want to be better? Get what I mean? And to be better is to make sure you are okay. Love you the way you want to be loved. Love you the way you deserve to be loved at that time. So nobody is abusing you now in that way. Nobody is hurting you in that way. So if you let yourself go back to those times, even though you heal, and you will go back, like recently, I've been reflecting a lot. And I'll tell you all, I did it with Dr. Nimpu last week on Trauma Talks, where I talk about sticking things on your back and saying, kick me or slap me or tap me. Those are traumas that happen. But if you dwell on it, it's never going to stop. It's never going to go, because again, with Mbeno, your mind and what you think and how you structure it, it all manifests and keeps coming. If you say you want to become a billionaire, somehow, somewhere along the line, if you believe hard enough and you keep working towards it and you keep going towards it, it will happen. Just like how you wanted to become a nurse, you wanted to help people and you did it. And that's why I said again and again, as we celebrate nurses, give yourselves a pat on the back. You all, with your traumas that you go through in everyday life, you still go out there and make an amazing difference. And again, thank you for what all of you do. So Dana, I hope that helps a little, and love is something that is always there. In the darkest moment, in the most traumatizing time, you will remember something that somebody did to make your heart, your body, your soul feel warm, knowing that you are important. And with that feeling, you can expand that by knowing how important you are to you. Thank you. Dr. Nimpu, you're muted.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, better. Woo. Thank you, everyone. This has been so, I would say, not only revealing, but rejuvenating for us to get things off our chest at a level that we could here on this platform today. Dina, before you came, we were talking about the incident yesterday and talking about how we reacted to the situation at the moment, and how we debriefed, and how it was just an opportune time that God provided counselor on site prior to even us anticipating or not anticipating or even encountering the incidents, and which is all the doing of God. He will provide for us before we even ask for it, and then when we get it, we're like, whoa, this is awesome, but I didn't even ask for it. But so that means that God is always there sheltering us. And in this technological world where people are hiking out of hate, out of malicious reasons, we have to see that situation also in light that so much will come our way, whether we try to prevent it or we don't see it coming. As nurses, we need to embrace each other and be very aware of what's happening. Carla spoke on that earlier today. Imagine our day-to-day has been full of trauma talks, prevention of burnout, and now trauma talks in the evening. And if you put the two together, we've learned today that there are parts of trauma we can prevent, which is burnout. Burnout is preventable. In many ways, we're in control of how we react towards these things and when they come at us. But mainly, I want to leave all of us with the fact that no man is an island. When you're aware of yourself, you will be aware of someone else's condition, how they're reacting or what's going on in their lives, or maybe they're not acting their usual self. But if you're not in control of yourself and you yourself burning out, you're on fire, how can you turn someone else's fire off? So we have to take care of ourselves. We have to put off the flame so that we can be able to help our colleagues, and most of all, help and provide quality care to our patients. So whatever you draw out of today's events from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., please draw the fact that self-awareness, self-care, and just that motivation to keep on going. Don't look back at the past. Don't think that looking back at the past and dwelling in the past will help you move into the future. The past is a foundation that we can stand on and spring forward. So Nurses Week is jam-packed with good stuff every day for the past 4 days now. And we have till Sunday. Don't miss a day, because you'll just be watching the replay. You won't have a way of speaking up like we have here today. So bring a guest with you. Share the videos, share the events with others, and we can make a brighter world around us for ourselves and for everyone that we love and care about. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Ra. Today, you took the day on and you knocked it out of the park. We bless God for you all.
Thank you again. And I just want to say a special thank you to my sister Chris. She joined us at last minute. I always ask her to come on my conferences. I actually send it out to a few people, but the last minute they just couldn't. But if you ladies hears Chris's story, I mean, it's not my story to tell, but to tell you the resilient woman that she is and the things that she's been through in her life as well. It was really, she had her traumatic times. And as of recent in 2020, she lost her 10-year husband, lover that she lived with from kidney diseases because he had kidney problems. And for, I think it was a very long time. I think it was about 2011 or something that he was diagnosed. And that struggle of believing that the hope is there, that he's going to get this kidney and he's next in line and he's right there. And at the end of the day, she lost him. And let me tell you, it's not just a matter of, okay, we know what happens with most of the renal kidney failures and all these different things, right? But it's the person she is, that what she been throughout that entire time. And every time I think about struggles, especially when it comes to sickness and stuff, I reflect without she even knowing that, oh my God, I wonder what Chris will do in a situation like that. So Chris, thank you for joining. I know sometimes she comes off the mute and it's a lot of noise in the background, But thank you, and I love you so much. And thank you, Dr. Nimpu. Thank you, Carla and Beno. Dina, I believe in you. We have Adolphus Hall and Sayane. Can you pronounce your name for me? And everybody else who looked on at us, I want to say thank you and continue to believe in yourself and continue to work hard. And while I'm in and out for the next couple of days, I will pop in and say hello and listen to the stories like I was listening to Dina and the other person who was having a conversation when the drama happened. And that was everything you all was saying was on point. It's just I was a little disappointed that it happens and it would not stop. But you know what? We're beyond that. But let's share the love amongst yourself and celebrate you always because you all are amazing. Thank you again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Happy Nurses Week to all of our nurses worldwide. And I see you're doing a phenomenal job. We're just starting. This is just 2024. Imagine 2025. Woo! It'll be off the roof. So let's have fun. Let's keep safe. Carla, I love you, sis. All right, guys. You have a blessed week, rest of your day, and see you here tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Love you, girl. Want to get to know you soon.